Hey friends, it's Rachel with the Ponds Farmhouse, and I'm here today. We're going to be doing an almost free summer wreath idea, and the great news is that this wreath, you can change it out and use it all summer long. For 4th of July, for spring, for summer, it's going to work. The free part is I'm going to be making flowers out of pine cones and gumballs. So that's the free part. And if you happen to have an old wreath laying around your house, then the whole thing will be free. I actually have 2 wreaths that I'm going to be recycling. They've been used several different times for different wreaths. I just tore all the decor off of them, and I'm going to kind of spruce them up a little bit with some reindeer moss and then these beautiful flowers that we're going to be making out of pine cones. So if you would like to see how you can make one wreath and make it work for all summer long and change it up, then you're in the right place. So let's get started. The first step is to go ahead and cut your pine cones, and you can get about 3 cuts out of 1 pine cone. And we find that using these heavy-duty pruning loppers are the best for cutting them. You can use regular shears to do the fine tuning. What I'm doing here is I'm going to add some bamboo skewers to make stems for the flowers. If you're going to attach your flowers directly to your wreath, you don't need the stems. But for this project, what I'm doing is I'm making several different types of flowers so that I can change it up throughout the season and make it look different. We're going to be doing a patriotic, and we're going to be doing some different types of flowers. So these stems are going to be important so that you can switch them out. You can easily just pull the stems out and then push in the new stems for a completely new look. So I think this is going to be a fun project. I can't wait to see how it all comes together. So what we're going to do next is, once these have dried, we're going to go ahead and paint them. I'm going to start out with our red, white, and blue flowers, and just going to give you an example of how I'm painting these. You just want to be sure that you're painting over all the stems, and these little scales that are on the pine cones, you want to have a small brush so that you can get down in between the scales and get them painted really well. I'm leaving the center unpainted right now because we're going to paint it a different color. But just go ahead and paint the outside and the inside. And then I'm going to go ahead and paint the stem with some green paint. And I've already got some scales that I saved out painted green. We're just going to use the hot glue gun to attach a few of those to look like leaves on the stems. I don't do this to every single flower, but I do it to just a few of them to give it some definition. And then the last thing is to add some color to the center. And I'm just using a little bit of the yellow paint to make it look like a pretty flower. And here I'm working on one of the blue flowers, putting a little bit of white in the center. And I just wanted to show this one because you'll notice as you cut the different pine cones, you're going to get all kinds of different shapes, which is fun because every flower bloom is going to look different. Here's a little bit of a smaller one that I'm using. And again, I'm just putting the white paint into the center of it because this is my patriotic wreath. It's going to be red, white, and blue. And I'm also going to be using some white flowers as well. But you just want to make sure that you've got it covered as well as possible. I'm only using one coverage of paint because mine is a rustic pinecone wreath. But if you want them to be more smooth and elegant looking, you can put 2 coats of paint on them if you choose. And I'm also going to be making some of these exact same type of flowers, but I'm going to be painting them to look like zinnias. And I'm using pastel colors on those and just really making each one of them a different color to to change out the flowers for a zinnia wreath for summer. Now we are going to make a purple cornflower, and we're using a gumball that's already been attached to a skewer. We have taken some of the broken away scales, and we've painted them kind of a purpley pink color. And what we're doing is we're just adding some hot glue here around the lower edge of the gumball, and then attaching the broken away scales that have already been painted pink here to the gumball. And this is going to look like one of those purple cornflowers. It's going to be so cute. So that's going to be another option for you with this particular type of wreath. So I think you're going to love how it turns out. Okay, we've cut the styrofoam ball in half, and you'll notice that there's some little bumblebees on here. These were from a different wreath and I just have left those there. I'm just going to cover up some of this damaged area on here with some fresh Spanish moss. But the first thing we want to do is go ahead and put this little half moon in here. And so I'm just going to take my Ryobi my Ryobi hot glue gun, and I'm just going to put a lot of hot glue right here on the styrofoam. This is actually a recycled piece of styrofoam itself, so it's kind of rough, but it's going to be okay because we're going to cover it up with lots of Spanish moss. So I'm going to stick that right here in the very center. I just want to hold it there until it adheres really well. Make sure I've got it far enough back. I want to be sure it's centered. Okay, that looks good. And then I'm going to take some of the Spanish moss. And this I just picked up at the Dollar Tree, just real inexpensive. And you can see that some of this is faded on here. But we're going to go ahead and put some first right around the bottom here. Get a little bit more hot glue on here. Let's just kind of fill this all in. Right in here first. You may want to wear some protective finger protection here. I failed to bring that up when I came up from my shop, but we'll get that covered really good there. And we're going to cover this ball so that when we put our pinecone flowers on it, it'll be covered good. And again, just be real gentle here putting that on if you don't have your finger protection, like I don't. Okay, what we want to do here is we want to really fill this in, you know, around it good. Kind of spread it out as much as you can. Let me lay this back down so I can work with it better with two hands. There, see, you don't need it so thick in every area. Okay, we've got some finger protection now, so this is make this speed up a little bit. But we want to kind of make this even on this side, and so I'm going to fill it in just a little bit more right in here first. Just to kind of bring that, make an even little mound there. And then what I'm going to do with these other little pieces is I'm going to add some new moss all around some of these different areas. I want to kind of keep it thin because this is not like a 100% coverage. Anyway, on this original wreath, it just had little sprigs of moss all around. And so we're just going to add a few more little sprigs just to freshen it up a little bit. And especially over areas like here where there was some hot glue. Want to go ahead and make sure we cover those areas really good. Any area that looks like it needs freshening up. Another spot where there was hot glue originally, and we want to make sure we cover that really good. Just make it look fresh and new. Put a little bit more right up here. And freshen these up. And if it doesn't look good when we start putting everything on it, then we'll be able to still touch it up a little bit. So now we're ready to start adding our pine cone flowers. And one of the things that I recommend is that you not cut your stems any shorter until you start placing them, because you don't want to get them too short before you get everything in place. So what I did here is I just started at the back and used some of the taller pieces at the back, and then shorter as they come to the front. And this one just has 5 little flowers on it instead of more like one of the ones one of the ones has 11. This one just has 5. And so I'm going to add a few little embellishments here. I have these little bumblebees that I had left over, and I'm just going to tuck a few of those in. I'm also taking some of the green painted scales and adding them where I see gaps where I think they need it, either in the moss or on the stems themselves. That way this will look a little bit more polished and finished with the added pieces of greenery to them. Just cut those little ends off of the bumblebees and then put a little hot glue on. I just did 2 of them. You don't want to overdo your embellishments. But let's see what this looks like hanging on the door. Okay, now we're going to switch it out and make it look a little softer and more summery with these zinnia-inspired pine cone flowers. We're starting at the back again and just filling in. I'm making this one a little fuller, really tightening in, because you know, usually when you see zinnias, they're really kind of tight and compact. And so that's what I'm doing with this wreath. So this is just giving you another example. You just take the same wreath and switch it out, and you have a gorgeous zinnia wreath that looks fresh and new. So let's see what this one looks like hanging on the door. The zinnia flowers are perfect for summer. They're going to look great on the porch all summer long. But the great thing about this particular wreath design is that we can switch it out if we want to. So let's switch it out and see what it looks like for the 4th of July. Okay, I brought the wreath inside just to show you how quick and easy it is to change it out seasonally for all summer long. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take it and make it a 4th of July wreath instead of just a summer wreath. So all we need to do is just remove the different little picks that we've put in here, and they're fairly easy to remove. You just want to kind of be gentle with them because they are pine cones, so you don't want to break them. And we'll just set these aside, and when we get ready to change it up after the 4th of July, then we can just put these right back in. Okay, now we have both of our wreaths ready for the 4th of July just by removing the summer pine cone flowers, and now we've got our 4th of July red, white, and blue flowers.